back to the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Sam Menzie, and we have a great show for you today. First topic we'll be going over is the National League Power Rankings. After that, we'll be going over some American League Power Rankings. Then talking about the New York Mets and some recent headlines and stories with them. There was a few over the past 24 hours, so I did want to talk about those. And then in the final topic, we'll be talking about the players of the month that were just named for the MLB and talking about why they deserve it and just their overall stats and their impact on their teams. Now, before we do that, though, I would like to ask you again to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers, so to ensure that your question does get read in the air, please use the link, gsmcpodcast.net. It really does help the show, and it really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get into the show today. All right, so as I said, we're going to be doing power rankings this week. It is Friday, so I figured it is appropriate to do the power rankings. I think, every Friday I'm going to try to do this, so we're going to continue with it. We do have a little change for it, so we were doing some graphics here for the National League. If you do like these, please let me know in the comments. I'm just starting them, so if there is some technical difficulty, I do apologize, but I don't think there should be. So, just wanted to, go over these and just talk about my team. So, let's go. We're going to start off with, of course, the number 15 team, which is going to be the Colorado Rockies. Now, as you can see, the positives for them, well, it's Ryan McMahon. McMahon has been doing really, really well for them this year, been a real breakout hitter. Was a really good player in the past, but just has done extraordinary this year and has done just really, really well. So he's been a real bright spot. And the negatives after is everything else. There's really not much positive things for the Rockies right now. I would say Ryan McMahon, I think some of their younger players as well, but really they haven't been performing this year anyways. So I'd really just go with Ryan McMahon. I think that he's been a real breakout player, and we all know the Rockies aren't that good. Not a surprise here. Not a surprise they landed 15. Not going to spend too much time on. The next team we have is going to be the number 14 team, of course, the Miami Marlins. Now, the Marlins, as you can see, are 9-24. The positives for them are question mark, which means they don't really have any positives. I think it's a pretty extreme drop-off from last year, as they were a playoff team. They were a team that surprised a lot of people, looked like they had somewhat of a bright future, and now they're just kind of stuck. The negatives, of course, injuries. Their pitching was the thing that the Marlins really had as their identity for the past few years. They've had guys like Sandy Alcantara, of course, Sixto Sanchez even a year back, Yuri Perez, who we thought was going to be great. All these great young pitchers, and it's kind of deteriorating before our eyes. I mean, they still have some good ones, but Jesus Luzardo's hurt, Yuri Perez is hurt, Sandy Alcantara is hurt. They're all hurt. So that's why I do have the negatives and injuries, because do I think they would have been an amazing team without these injuries? No, I don't. But at the same time, they're definitely not helping. And when you have a team that doesn't have the best offense, is reliant on pitching, when you have so many injuries, it's going to be a big negative. For the offense as well, I did put underperformance. So, it's just basically every single player on this offense is underperforming. Luis Arraez is really the only league average hitter right now, and he's going pretty below his standards for what you expect from him. You expect him to be one of the best hitters in baseball, and he's just not being that right now. So I think that, with all the underperformance they've had, all the pitching injuries they've had, I think that it's just not been a great season for the Marlins, obviously, being at 29-24. So they really need to step it up, and hoping to see better play in the future. But it looks like they'll be sell as the deadline, and they really have not done well so far. The next team we have is going to be the St. Louis Cardinals at 13. Now, this could be low for the Cardinals, but I do want to just mention 14 and 15 are in a tier of their own, just being bad, the two worst teams in the National League, pretty heavily, pretty clearly. So every team now from probably 13 to, I'd say 13 to 6 are really, really close. But it's because everyone's really bunched up in the National League this year. So as much as the Cardinals are only one game ahead of the Rockies and the Marlins, one spot ahead of the Rockies and Marlins, at the same time, they're definitely not on that scale. They're definitely way better. So just want to make that clear so Cardinals fans don't hate me. So the Cardinals here are 14 and 17. Some positives. Wilson Contreras, he has been great. Swinging the bat, really, really incredible. Mason Wynn has been amazing as well, really breaking out at shortstop. Was always a great defender all throughout his professional career, but the hitting has really taken a turn for the best so far this year, which is really, really intriguing, and hopefully he can be a big part of the future. Lance Lynn has been a very big surprise. He's been really solid for the Cardinals, honestly, which is something I did not expect. I did not think he was going to be that good of a pitcher, but he's been really good, so props to him. Sonny Gray has been the ace they signed him for. Was in Cy Young voting last year for a reason. Is an elite pitcher in this league and has proven it this year with the Cardinals. So yeah, he's been pretty great. The bullpen also been pretty great. Andrew Kitteridge, Ryan Helsley, Jojo Romero. That's a 7-8-9 that really shuts out teams. So the bullpen is great. 2 of the starting pitchers are great. 2 of the hitters are great. So why are they 14 and 17, and why are they 13 on this list? Well, everything else is horrible. The pitching staff after these 2 guys has been horrible, just so bad. The offense has been horrendous. I mean, stars like Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt have been bad. So just there's really not much positives outside of the 5 things I just listed. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff, but there's a lot more bad stuff. And it's just, you cannot catch a break with the Cardinals. They finally find some good pitching, and the offense forgets how to hit baseballs. So really cannot get any breaks for your Cardinals fan right now. Really just unfortunate. So hoping they can do better in the future. The 12th team I have here is going to be the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, the Pirates are 14 and 18, started out the season really well, but have regressed over the past few weeks a little bit. The positive you can see, Joey Bart has been a great trade piece since coming over from San Francisco, has done really well. Connor Joe has been a really great hitter for them. Alika Williams also been really solid, outperforming expectations. Ryan Reynolds, really good as well, just Mr. Reliable for the Pirates there. Jared Jones has been phenomenal. I've talked about him a little bit on the show, but man, he has been great since being called up by the Pirates. Made the opening day roster for a reason, made the rotation for a reason, has been incredible so far, and has been really the ace of that staff. Josh Fleming out of the bullpen has been a really solid middle of the bullpen arm, so he's been good there. And the prospect pool, they have a lot of prospects I think can come up very soon and make real impacts on this team. I think Paul Skeens is the big one. You also look at guys like Andy Rodriguez, who probably would be if he wasn't hurt. So I think they have a lot of good prospects as well that are going to come up soon, going to make an impact, and I think that's a big positive for the Pirates here. Some negatives, Mitch Keller. You just extended Keller to be your young ace of this team, and he has not been good this year. Really has struggled a lot. So if you're a Pirates fan, really hoping that he can turn that around and do really well. So that's all you're hoping. And then after that, it's just the pitching all around. The rotation outside of Jared Jones has been horrible. They've had some okay performances from Mark Gonzalez and other pitchers on the rotation, but Mark Gonzalez is hurt now. Other guys have started to be inconsistent, so you're starting to see why I was so timid on this team going into the season. And the bullpen has been horrible as well. I mean, outside of Josh Fleming, David Bednar has been really struggling. Chapman has been really struggling. So there are some good pieces here for the Pirates team, but in a really stacked NL where all the teams are kind of bunched together, I'm not sure where the Pirates fit, and that's why I do have them at number 12 here. At number 11, I have, surprisingly, the Washington Nationals. Now, the Nationals are only 1 game below 500, which is an insane mark right now for where the team used to be. Some positives, you do have C.J. Abrams. Abrams, since coming over in the Juan Soto trade from San Diego, has really become a franchise player for Washington, has become a premier shortstop in this league, started hitting great this year. His defense has always been nice, so he's been a real big positive. Jesse Winker, who you signed basically to a nothing deal, has been a really great piece for you, a great left-handed bat in that lineup. And if it comes to it, he can be a really good trade piece at the deadline as well. So he's been a really solid pickup for them. It's been a really good signing. And, Trevor Williams, who signed a 2-year deal last year, has been a great pitcher for them this year. Really solid. Was really good with the Mets before signing with the Nationals, and has proven to the Nationals why it was a good signing. And I think he's going to be a really good trade piece at the deadline as well. Who knows if the Nationals are even going to sell at the deadline at this point with how good they've been, but hey, we'll have to see. For the negatives, Patrick Corbin. I mean, he's just one of the worst pitchers in baseball, but you only got 1 year in his contract left, so that's good. For injuries, you got a lot of them, mainly Josiah Gray. He's one of your big pitchers, and he is hurt already, so that's something you're hoping he can get back soon, but, some other injuries as well, like Joey Gallo, so you're hoping that. You're hoping he can come back soon as well. Mackenzie Gore, that wasn't one of the positives I did not mention, but yeah, he's been another great pitcher for them. With Josiah Gray back, I think Gray, Gore can form a really nasty 1-2. And if they sign a real ace this offseason, someone who's available, I think that pitching staff can become really, really good, and this team can transform. Going into the top 10 now, I have the San Francisco Giants. Now, the Giants, the positives with them are that the pitching. The pitching has been incredible. Logan Webb, Jordan Hicks mainly, those two guys have been really locked down. Jordan Hicks has become an amazing starter after being a mediocre reliever all these years, so props to him. Patrick Bailey, I mean, man, this guy's a monster. He's turning into one of the best catchers in baseball, becoming really, really good. So, hey, props to him. Giants found their replacement to Buster Posey. I mean, he's been that good, and he's hitting this year as well. Great defense, great framing, all-around great catcher. Lamont Wade has been an amazing piece of the offense, along with Patrick Bailey. Really is hitting the ball well, and is just having a great monster offensive season. The negatives, though, are the rest of the offense. I mean, outside of those two guys, every single player is underperforming. No one's doing really that well, so you're just hoping that outside of these two guys, someone can start to step up, can start to perform, and that's really your only hope right now if you're a Giants fan. So that's why I do have them at number 10. At number 9, I have the division rival San Diego Padres, who are 16-18. So some positives for them are Jurickson Profar has been a monster since signing back with them. Really a surprise there. Jake Cronenworth has been great this year after struggling last year. Fernando Tatis Jr., another great bat. I mean, we know how good he is. Dylan Cease, since being traded, has been such a good arm for them. So consistent, doing really, really well. The bullpen has also been really solid. I mean, guys you picked up kind of out of nowhere, like Enyel De Santos has been a really good arm. Robert Torres has been nice out of the back end. You've had Yuki Matsui. He's been as advertised coming over from Japan. So, yeah, the bullpen been really, really good, and that's a big positive there. Negatives, though, Joe Musgrove, he has been really bad this season. I don't know what's going on with him, but, man, he has not been good. Really, really struggling. Manny Machado, same as Joe Musgrove, he has been really, really struggling, coming off of off-season surgery, so I think that could be hindering his ability a little bit. But, we know Manny, we know how good he is, so I'm not too worried for the long term. Michael King. Now, this is a big one. King was, of course, the biggest part of the Soto trade coming over. He was supposed to be a really good young pitcher for this Padres rotation that could anchor it for a really long time, and he has just not been that good. He's been not good at all. I don't see any positives in him right now. He's really been struggling, and the Padres need him to get better. 8, we have the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, some positives with the Diamondbacks are new offensive additions. Jock Peterson has been doing really well. Blaze Alexander, when coming up, has been doing well. Randall Grichuk has been doing well. So the offensive additions have been really good. Zach Gallen, man, this guy's just an ace. I mean, he's so good. For the negatives, though, you have pitching injuries. Merrill Kelly, Eduardo Rodriguez, two guys you were heavily relying on, are both out for a significant amount of time here. So that's not great. You did sign Jordan Montgomery, but he hasn't really found his stride yet with Arizona. So hoping that he can to fill in with these pitching injuries, which have been pretty big negatives right now. Gabby Moreno, he has not been hitting the ball well. Was a real breakout star for you guys last year, especially in the playoffs. I think he balances the lineup really, really well, and it's tough to find such an elite hitting catcher nowadays. So hoping he can hoping he can get it going and help this lineup out. Ketel Marte, I think I meant to put him in the positives actually, so we'll just ignore that. But yeah, he's been really, really good. I mean, that's a mistake on my part. I apologize. So yeah, I definitely meant to put him in the positives. So ignore that there. But yeah, Ketel Marte, he's been as advertised. He's been the Ketel Marte we all know of. So good. So yeah, I mean, he's one of the best players in baseball for a reason, and their franchise star. Number 7, we have the Cincinnati Reds at 16-15. The positives, the rotation, been really, really good. Andrew Abbott, Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, all been really solid. Frankie Montas, good as well. The bullpen, Alexis Diaz, Emilio Pagan, Brent Suter, all really great arms there. Ellie, he's been so good this year. I mean, he's been so good. Spencer Steer, I mean, these two guys have really been anchoring the offense right now. Two young infielders that Reds fans are watching for the future, and two guys that are really going to represent the organization. So, yeah, the problem is the rest of the offense is sucking. It's been really, really bad. I think right now Ellie and Spencer Steer are doing so well that it's shining out how bad the rest of the offense has been. Guys you signed like Heimer Candelario have not been doing good. Jonathan India has been struggling. So Ellie and Spencer Steer right now are really carrying it on their backs, 16 and 15. I think a positive, though, to turn this is when everyone does start performing, assuming they do, this team is going to take off. I had them winning the NL Central at the start of the year. I'm going to continue with that take. I think they're a great team. And yeah, I'm really excited to watch them. Number 6, we have the New York Mets. Now, the Mets might be a little too high for people's likings, but I think they've had really great wins, and I'm really high in them. So for positives, the DH tandem. DJ Stewart has been doing really well this year, kind of surprisingly. So that's been a big bat to their lineup. JD Martinez since signing has been doing really well. So just the DHs overall has been something that's been really positive for them. They haven't had a real elite DH for a long time in New York. So nice job here to finally find one and finally find some that do have a huge impact on the game. Brandon Nimmo, he's been really, really good. He's Brandon Nimmo. We all know how good he is. So Francisco Lindor, now he started off the season really, really poor, like usual. Mets fans overreacted, always. But since then, he's been doing really solid, really well, and had a big walk-off hit yesterday, which we will talk about in the third segment. So, positive that he is starting to do really well and get it going. Luis Severino, he's been incredible since coming over from the Yankees. A big question mark of a signing, as he did do so horrible last year, but has found his footing in the other borough of New York and Queens. Done really, really well and been a great help to this pitching staff. Jose Budo, also been great since being called up, has been a forefront at this rotation, been doing really, really well. Negatives, the offense. At times it's on, but when it's off, it's off. It's very inconsistent, so I do think they need to change that around, but still a good team. Have them at number 6, narrowly missing the top 5, 16 and 15. 6 is where we start to get into playoff territory, so this is where it starts to get serious, and these are my real elite teams. Top 5 now. Number 5, Chicago Cubs, 19 and 13. Cubs, positives. Mike Tauchman, been out of nowhere, been a really fantastic bat for the Cubs. I don't know why or how, but he's been great, so props to him. Michael Busch, he's been really great as well. Since coming over from the Dodgers, been a really great bat for them. Really has solidified that lineup. Been just a great addition. Shota Imanaga, I had a whole segment on him yesterday, so if you want to go over that, please do. I go deeper into him, but yeah, he's the air leader right now. Been really, really great and just doing a great job there. Was an iffy signing when he first came over, but has proven a lot of people wrong. Javier Assad, also doing great. Another young pitcher for this Cubs team. Doing really, really great. Just helping that rotation out. The offense has had a lot of injuries, mainly Cody Bellinger and Seiya Suzuki, which are in the negatives. So you're hoping these guys can get healthy, but you don't really know when the timetables are, and they are such big additions to they are such big pieces of your lineup that it is a big negative for them to be out right now, and you're hoping they can come back rather soon. Number 4 is the surprising Milwaukee Brewers. Now, I was not very high in this team coming into the season, but they've really surprised me. Colin Wright and Freddie Peralta have been really, really good this year, really anchoring that rotation. I thought it would be not that good after Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff both will not be pitching for the Brewers this year for different reasons. But Colin Wright and Freddie Peralta have really held it down. The problem is outside of that, it's pretty bad, as you see in the negatives, the pitching depth. So I think these two guys are really great, but after that, there's a lot of question marks in the rotation that I think need to be fixed as we go through the season. Joe Ross has been bad. Wade Miley just got Tommy John, so need to answer some of those questions. The bullpen has been really great. Actually, though, the closer, Abner Uribe, who also just got suspended 6 games for fighting, has been the negative, which is kind of interesting that the bullpen is so good without their closer. So that is interesting, but that's been another positive. The entire offense, has this offense been so, so good. It's been elite and just really surprising me. Number 3, I have the Philadelphia Phillies at 21 and 11. Positives, the entire offense, just so, so good. We know this. But I want to give a special shout out to Alec Boehm. Boehm has been incredible this year, living up to his pedigree as a top draft pick. Has been so, so good, and just kind of came out of nowhere with this. He's been really incredible, so props to him. The rotation, The rotation's been incredible. Zach Wheeler, incredible. Aaron Nola, incredible. Spencer Turnbull, incredible. Ranger Suarez, incredible. Just so good. The bullpen depth does need a little work, though. It's still pretty good, but you have some guys underperforming, mainly Sir Anthony Dominguez and Gregory Soto. So I would think you need to get those settled out before you go into the rest of the year. Now, 2-1, we all know who it is. It's the Dodgers and Braves. I have the Dodgers at 2 and the Braves at 1. Now, for positives for the Dodgers, I have, yes, everything is a positive. The negatives is the pitching depth. I think a lot of their pitchers have some injury risk, are a little bit on the questionable side of staying healthy the entire season. So that is not great, but everything else is pretty great. So I think if everyone could stay healthy, which is a big if, they'll be really good. They could be number 1. I personally have the Braves at number 1. The positives, the offense and the pitching. I mean, everything's incredible. The negatives, of course, Spencer Strider, their best pitcher, getting hurt. Not what you want to see. Not good. So obviously you're lacking that true ace. Max Fried is really good, but I don't know if he's that true ace for you guys. And with the pitching, how iffy it's been in the playoffs for the past few years, I think that you need to find some more pitching somewhere in your organization. So, all right, so that was our first segment talking about the National League and some power rankings. It did go a little long, so I do apologize for that. But yeah, I was using these kind of graphics for the first time. I have used graphics before on this channel, but that was more the first time for that kind. So if you do like it, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments if you want to keep going with it. So yeah, we'll be moving on to our second segment, which is talking about the American League power rankings. That should say American League, not National League. I'll change that right now. But so yeah, we'll be going into those, and we'll be seeing you after the break. So thanks, and bye.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right, we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our second segment, which is going to talk about the American League Power Rankings, just my personal opinion. It is Friday, it's the end of the week, so I just wanted to go over that and just some standout teams. So before we do that, though, I'd like to ask you again to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers, so to ensure that your question does get read in the air, please use the link, gsmcpodcast.net. It really does help the show, and it really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get back into the show. All right, so we're going over the American League Power Rankings, just my personal opinions and thoughts on it. So, yeah, let's get into it. So at number 15 for the American League, no surprise, it's the Chicago White Sox. I don't know what to say about the White Sox that is necessarily positive. Tommy Pham, I guess, he's pretty good. But, I mean, the White Sox are bad. We all know they're bad. You watch baseball, you know they're bad. You don't watch baseball and you just see their highlights, you can tell they're bad. The White Sox are a really bad baseball team. I don't know what to say about that, but yeah, they suck. Yeah, so I'm not going to spend too much time on them. They're 15 for a reason. I don't think anyone's going to debate that. Number 14, though, is interesting because at the start of the year, I did have it as White Sox A's. No team is going to come close to those two teams in measures of horribleness. Now, no teams have, but the A's have not been horrible. So they are actually not at my 14th spot. I have the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Now, are the Angels this bad? No, I don't think so. But I think a lot of AL teams are good this year. Up at 12, I think any of these teams can make the playoffs. So It's not necessarily the Angels bad. It's just they got hit with some unfortunate luck with Trout being hurt. And I think that's why I have them at 14. They don't have much outside of Trout. And with him hurt, with Ohtani gone, obviously, I think that clearly they are the 14th best team in the league right now, in the American League. And there's not much going up for them. I think they're going to trade a lot of people at the deadline. They're going to figure out a path for their organization right now. So, yeah, not much to like right now about the Angels. But we knew this. We knew that they weren't going to be that good. Not really a big surprise here. 13, I have the surprising Oakland Athletics. Now, somehow the A's aren't 15th or 14th. I don't know how that's possible, but it is. So the A's honestly have not been doing that bad. I had a full segment on them yesterday about their, just what's going on with them. So if you want to check that out, please go ahead. I go into depth a little bit more, but I mean, they've had a lot of breakout performances, a lot of guys who have been outperforming, and the team just looks together. I think they're banding together of, this is our last year in front of these A's fans. In front of these Oakland fans, let's give them a show. And I think just banding together. I think another thing I didn't mention in my segment yesterday that I do wish I would have is their manager. I think Mark Kotsay is an incredible manager. I think he's shown that so far. I think if he leaves the A's, he's going to have a lot of offers. And I think he's pulling this team together right now, doing a really great job. And, yeah, I think good job for him. So I think he's a really good manager and doing a really, really good job. So props to him and props to the A's for finding that. At 12, I have the Houston Astros. Now, the Astros are unfortunate because of all the injuries they've had. So many pitching injuries. I mean, Justin Verlander, Framber Valdez, Luis Garcia, Lance McCullers. So Verlander did just come back, which is a big addition. But, right now the record is not good. They're fifth in the AL West right now, which is something nobody expected. I do have them over the A's just because they are the Astros. They have a sheer amount of talent, but the pitching's a problem. Won't lie to you. Alex Bregman, even part of the offense, is struggling. So it's not just the pitching. It's not just these injuries. There's a lot systematically wrong with the Astros right now. There's a lot of not positives here and some things that are just not going right for them. So I have them at 12. You could argue they're lower. I just put them here, give them the benefit of the doubt that they will figure it out, that they are the Astros. And I just didn't want to put them below the A's. I just couldn't do that to them. I couldn't do that to their fans. So I did have them at number 12, but if you want them higher, if you want them lower, I really would agree with anything. But I think for me, 12 is the perfect spot. Now, 11, I have the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays have been really underperforming this year. I think it really is the pitching. A lot of some of their guys have been doing well, like Ryan Pepio, Zach Eflin, who's always been doing great, but they have a lot of pitching injuries. The offense is underperforming a little bit. Dropping a series to the Angels was not good. Getting swept by the White Sox was the real low part of the season. So they need to step it up right now. I think there's a lot that needs to be improved about this Rays team, and I think they need to do it sooner rather than later. They're playing the Mets today, tomorrow, and in a 3-game series. Hopefully they can take that. The Mets have been doing well recently, just split with the Cubs, who've been really, really hot. So I think that if the Rays are going to have to show us something this series, and if they don't, if they get swept, for just an example, I honestly could have them at 13 or 14. Right now, I'm just not very high on them. I see a lot of flaws in their game, and I don't know how good they really are. So, I do have the Rays at 11, and again, they're better than this. We all know this, but not playing with it right now, and that's why I do have them here at number 11. So, moving into the top 10, I have starting with the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, the Blue Jays are an interesting case. There's been some underperformance. There's been some guys who have been doing really well, but they're just kind of mediocre. I don't know how else to describe them right now. I mean, you look at the AL East currently, they are indeed 15-7 in 4th place in that division. 3 games, 5.5 out of first place, and three games below the team in 3rd place. So, I mean, yeah, there's a lot interesting with the Blue Jays right now. Again, I just think they're kind of mediocre. 15-17, mediocre. So they have had a little bit of a tough schedule, which is true. But at the same time, we expected the Blue Jays to be the young team of the future, right? We expected with all the young players they have, including the main guy, Vladdy. You had Bo Bichette. You had a lot of young pitchers as well. And it's just not, it has not been their season so far. I think that there is a lot to improve here at the Blue Jays team. A lot of players can be doing better, and I think they should be. So, yeah, I'm really hoping that they can, because they're a fun team to watch. Toronto's an amazing city, an amazing baseball town, amazing sports town. So I think that overall they are going to have to improve. They're going to have to, their players to kind of, get off the schneid and perform a little bit and play to their potential. Mainly Vladdy. He's been okay, but I don't know where that MVP caliber season went. He has not been that guy, and I think he's one of the biggest parts of this Blue Jays team. So, they were in the top 10, though, to give them credit. At number 9, I have, surprisingly, a team that really nobody expected, the Boston Red Sox. Now, the Red Sox have been one of the biggest surprises of this entire year. I mean, they really have come out of nowhere and just done really, really well. And I think, honestly, it's the pitching. You look at this pitching right now. When you went into the season with them, you're like, okay, well, the thing with the Red Sox is they have a lot of good young pitchers, but nobody that's extraordinary. No guy that is really, an ace level guy or someone that is going to significantly improve your team. And that has been not true. Carter Crawford, Tanner Houck, they've been incredible. I mean, these two guys are solidifying themselves as starters in the Red Sox rotation for a long, long time. And I think that's why they're at number 9 right now. Their pitching has been really incredible. Like I said, their young pitchers have finally stepped up, played to their fullest potential, and they've been doing really, really well. So props to them. I mean, don't know what else to say. I mean, the rotation has been incredible. The lineup hasn't been half bad as well, having guys like Rafi Devers there. So a lot going right for the Red Sox right now, kind of surprisingly. We'll see if they can stay there, but looking really good right now. Number 8, Texas Rangers, defending world champions. We all know what their negatives are. It's the pitching. We all know what their positives are. It's the offense. Not much else to say there. The offense is incredible. They need to get the pitching straight. They have a lot of injuries there. Guys like Max Scherzer, of course, Jacob deGrom, who I've talked about millions and millions of times now, but it's true. This Rangers team has such a great offense. Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, Wyatt Langford, Evan Carter, Nathaniel Lowe coming back as well now. So I think once the pitching comes back, they'll be a better team. But right now I do have them at number 8, and I'm gonna keep it there. Number 7, I have the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers have been doing really, really well. So I want to just say props to them. I mean, I really have loved their season so far. Their young hitters, I think, are performing now. Mark Canha has been insane since coming there. The pitching has been doing well. I predicted Tarek Skubal to win Cy Young. He has not let me down so far. He's been doing really, really well. So, yeah, I think there's a lot going right for the Tigers right now. I think there's a lot of good things happening in Detroit, and I'm excited to watch them go into the future. I mean, they have so many great young players. Colt Keith, Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, Jake Rogers, Dylan Dingler. So some of these guys aren't even playing to their fullest potential. Parker Meadows, someone I didn't mention as well. So I'm loving the Tigers team right now. I think there's a lot going right for them, and I think that they're a really positive team and are going in the right direction. So, yeah. At 6, playoff time now, because there are 6 teams who make the playoffs in the MLB, in each league, I should say. The Seattle Mariners. Now, the Mariners are currently the leaders of the AL West, and it's really not close. I mean, the Rangers are in the vicinity, but I'd say it's the Mariners all the way right now. They're finally performing up to their potential, it looks like. With the Astros underperforming, with the Angels being horrible and getting some bad luck, the Mariners are taking advantage, and boy, have they been good. I mean, they're, as I said, they're top of the AL West right now. They're 17-14. Very close to the Rangers record-wise, but I think they are the better team. Their pitching is incredible. George Kirby is just insane. Bryce Miller is insane. You have other young guys like Emerson Hancock, Brian Wu, who are either injured or have not fulfilled their potential yet. So there's a lot more in the pitching department for the Mariners. And their offense, of course, incredible. Julio, started off the season really rough, but he's starting to turn around a little bit. You have some other complementary pieces that are really nice, like a Mitch Garver. like a Jorge Polanco, like a Cal Raleigh. So a lot's going right for the Mariners right now, and I really love this team. At 5, we have the team I didn't give up on. I said, you know what, they were one of the worst teams in baseball a few weeks ago, but I still like them. I still believe in them, and that is the Minnesota Twins. Now, the Minnesota Twins have won, you're going to hear this correctly, 10 games in a row. 10 games in a row for the Minnesota Twins. I mean, they started off the season so poor, so bad, and props to them for turning it around. I mean, I always believed in them. I thought they were clearly the best team in the AL Central. You know, they're 2.5 games back of the Cleveland now, who we're going to see later in this list, of course. But, you know, only 1 game close to the second. So 10 games in a row. The offense has finally been clicking. The pitching has been clicking. I love this team. I'm very high on them. I think they're a great, great team. Didn't give up on them through their struggles. I'm being proven right so far. Doing really, really great. And I'm really excited to watch them and really happy to watch them. So, yeah. Here's the Minnesota Twins. I'm really loving what they're doing right now. So, at number 4, I have the Kansas City Royals. Now, the Royals I do have as above the Twins. I think the Twins are a better team, but right now, oh boy, I love the Royals. Now, I originally had the Royals in the AL playoff picture for my preseason predictions, but I kind of chickened out of that. I was like, you know what, they're not as good as I think. They just made a lot of offseason moves, but they have been really, really, really good. You have Michael Wacha, Cole Reagans, Brady Singer, and what am I saying? It's pitching for the Royals. Their pitching has been incredible. These 3 guys, and Seth Lugo. I mean, Seth Lugo has come out of nowhere, been an incredible starting pitcher for this Royals team. Had a great season last year with the Padres. I was a little skeptical to see if he could follow it up, but man, has he been impressive. I mean, wow, he's just been really, really incredible, honestly. I don't know what to say about him that, people haven't said, but he's been an amazing signing, been so, so good. And, yeah, I'm really excited about watching him and happy for him. As a Mets fan, he wanted to be a starting pitcher for a long, long time with us and wasn't. And he finally got his chance at the Padres, took advantage of it, got with the Royals, took advantage of that opportunity as well, and now has been a really good starting pitcher for them. So happy for him, and this Royals pitching staff has been incredible. The offense hasn't been too bad. Bobby Witt Jr., Vinny Pasquantino, Salvador Perez, MJ Melendez. A lot of good offensive production from these guys and from the younger guys. So, yeah. At 3, really excited about the Royals. At 3, if you can tell. At 3, the surprise of the entire baseball season. Somehow the AL Central leading one of the top teams in the American League, Cleveland Guardians, currently have the best record in all of the National League. I don't know what's going on with them, but I don't think it's a fluke. I'll say that. I don't think it's a fluke. Do I think they're going to be this good? No, I don't, but I think they're a playoff team. The way that they have overcome injuries has been incredible. Their best pitcher, Shane Bieber, who was having an early season Cy Young push, went down, and instead of packing it in and getting frustrated, the Guardians said, you know what, we're going to take advantage. We're going to not take advantage. That's not the right way of putting it. We're going to put this in the rearview mirror, get our young guys up. They're going to perform. Guys like Tanner Bybee are going to step up. And the offense has also been incredible. I mean, I don't know where this came from. Josh Naylor has been insane. Estevan Florial, since coming over from the Yankees, has also been incredible. So, yeah, I mean, this team has been great. I don't know where this all came from, but man, have they been a surprise this year. Now, 2-1 for the AL. We all know who it is. It's the same boat as the Dodgers. 2 elite teams. You can have them anywhere you want. Yankees and Orioles. We all know. I have the Yankees at 2, Orioles at 1. I think the Orioles, with the pitching reinforcements they're getting back soon, with how good Corbin Burns has been, with how good their offense has been, I do have them at number 1, but it's really close between those 2 teams. But 1 is the Orioles, 2 is the Yankees for me. If you want to have them in a different order, I'm perfectly fine with that. It's just the 2 teams for me are the top. So that was our third segment here, talking about the American League Power Rankings and just the teams I'm really high on. Going into our third segment, which is going to talk about the New York Mets and some headlines with them. There were some decent amount of stories with them in the past 24 hours, so I did just want to touch upon those and just get my thoughts on it and just the overall Mets team. So, yeah, we'll talk about that, and we'll see you after the break. So thanks and bye.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
And we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our third segment, which is going to be talking about the New York Mets and just some recent news with them. Now, I did have a segment yesterday dedicated fully to a team. It was about the Oakland A's and just their resurgence and how good they've been. So if you want to check that out, go ahead. But today, I thought it was fitting for the Mets. They've had a lot of news in the past 24 hours, and I want to go over it. So just the three ones that I did want to talk about was, first of all, Christian Scott, their top pitching prospect, being called up. Brooks Raley, injured, and just talk about his impact. And Lindor hitting a walk-off against the Cubs and just splitting there. So, yeah, I did want to go over those things, and, we'll go over it. So the first one is Christian Scott. And I'm a Mets fan. I want to make that very clear, but I'm going to try to remain, as unbiased as I can throughout this whole segment. Man, do I love Christian Scott. This guy came out of nowhere last year, was one of the best pitchers in the entire National League, and has been really, really great. So, the Mets finally called him up. Was great this year again with all the pitching injuries and pitching underperformances they've had. I think it was very, very fitting, and I'm really excited. So with Christian Scott, you're gonna have to know a few things about him. So first off, his fastball. His fastball is incredible. It's so good. Just looking at his stats, though, before I do get into the pitches, actually. So he posted a 3.20 ERA with 36 strikeouts and only 5 walks in 5 starts for AAA Syracuse. He had a .71 WHIP, which led all AAA qualified pitchers. Also, a 38.3% K rate and a 39.1% K to walk ratio, which both rank second in the entire minor leagues. So the only MLB Pipeline's top pitching prospect, Paul Skeens, beat him in both of these categories. So you can see what contention he's in right now with Paul Skeens and with some other top pitching prospects. So you can see how good he's done. And I'm just so excited to watch him. He will be starting on Saturday. So he's 6'4" as well, which is obviously a great height for a pitcher. As I said, with Scott, first of all, you're expecting that fastball. It's really fast, but not only is it fast, it moves, and he knows how to pitch it. So I think there's a lot of positives there with that fastball. I think it very clearly is going to be a major league pitch, is going to be a major league ace level pitch, and is going to be really, really good. He's really developed that pitch over the past few years now, and it's been really solid. He also has a mid-80s hard slider and a low 80s sweeper that gets 13.3 inches of horizontal break. So the longer breaking ball has been Scott's most effective pitch at getting misses this season, with a 32.4% whiff per swing rate. So a whiff is when you don't hit the ball at all, obviously. So if you guys didn't know that, just wanted to make that clear. So basically, you want to whiff. I think, obviously, you don't want the hitter to touch the ball whatsoever. So the higher your whiff percentage, the better it is. Pretty clear. So he also has a split changeup. It gets 14.2 inches of arm side run on average. So, obviously he has a lot of movement on these pitches. He knows how to pitch as well. I've watched some of his AAA starts. I've watched some of his minor league starts, and he just knows how to pitch. The guy knows what he's doing on the mound. He was comfortable there. You can see he loves doing it. So I'm just so excited to watch him. the Mets have needed a pitcher so bad. Adrian Hauser has been a real big disappointment for them. I mean, came in, and as I put it, when I was talking about the trade and for, the season, I was talking about it as, he was just that consistent five-starter. That guy you can rely on to throw 5 or 6 innings, give up 2 or 3 runs, which, isn't the best, but he's just a five-starter, a guy that eats innings. And, man, has he been horrible. I mean, oh, man, he's been bad. So, yeah, I think overall bringing up Scott does help with that rotation. And right now you have a lot of good pitchers in this rotation. You have Luis Severino, who's been a great addition to the staff. You have Sean Manaea, who's also been great. Jose Budo, been great. Christian Scott now coming up. Kodai Senga. Jose Quintana's been great. So you have this 6-man rotation, this core, that I think is going to travel for the rest of the season with this team. Bringing up Scott as well was also a way to get Severino, Manaea an extra day, probably get Senga an extra day when he does come back because he'll need some more rest. So I think that overall, bringing up Scott at this time was the correct move. He's obviously ready. He has mastered AAA. I think he's, again, pretty clearly ready for AAA, pretty clearly ready for the major leagues. And I think that Scott overall is going to be a big impact to this Mets rotation. It's really going to help them. And in an NL East stack with pitching, and we talked about it with the Phillies, talked about it with the Braves, how good it is. I think Scott is going to be a big impact. And this core right now of that 6, you're going to have Senga, you're going to have Severino, you're going to have Manaea, Budo, Scott, Quintana. I think that is going to be something really great to watch. And I think that rotation, really solid. Really, really good. So, that was just it for about Christian Scott and just overall my thoughts on him and just his impact on the Mets. He was one of the biggest prospect call-ups this year already. Has ranked number 99 on ESPN's list, but I think for a lot of people is more in the top 70s or 60s, 50s, and I think was going to rise a lot if he stayed on to a mid-season prospect list. So I think overall is a really great prospect and is someone that's going to help the Mets a lot. So yeah, really excited to watch him, and yeah, just really, really excited, and I think he's going to be a big impact. So after that, I did want to talk about more of negative news about the Mets, and that was Brooks Raley. Now, with Raley, he went on the injured list a few weeks ago, around 15 days ago, went on the 15-day IL, and when the Mets put him there, they said, you know what, he's just going to be there for 15 days, just going to be there for the regular amount of time, not really going to be a long-term thing, but now has had a setback and is going to be on there for a longer amount of time, let's put it. So for Raley, he is one of the best arms in that Mets bullpen. You have a lot of great arms there, including, of course, in my opinion, the best closer in baseball when healthy, Edwin Diaz. And having Raley there last year especially was a great way to get to the back end. He started off really rough, but at the same time, gets out lefties really nice, knows how to pitch to righties as well. So I think that overall, Raley is one of the best pitchers in this Mets rotation and is a guy that is really, really great. So, not rotation, I meant to say bullpen. So I think losing Raley for now is going to be something the Mets do have to work around. I'm not sure how long he's going to be out, but I don't know if he has to get Tommy John yet, but it is an elbow injury. That's what he originally went on. But they said, no, it's fine. He's going to be back in 15 days. That was a lie. So he has had it's either a setback or they just didn't want to tell us the truth at the start. So I think Raley is such a big part of this Mets bullpen, such a big part of getting Diaz and the other back-end relievers to where they need to be and get to the back end of the game smoothly. The Mets pitchers haven't gone very deep into games so far this year, and having a guy like Raley really helped with that, really helped to solidify that bullpen, and losing him is a big deal. You do have other lefty arms like Jay Teichman, who's really good. Josh Walker's a young, solid arm, but has been up and down. There are some free agency options. One that would be really fun that some Mets fans have proposed is Aaron Loup. Loup did pitch for the Mets a few years ago. I think it was 3 years ago now. Had one of the best relief seasons in Mets history. Kind of out of nowhere. Went to the Angels, was really bad there, and now is still a free agent. But I think that could be a fun little storyline to bring him back and bring in some more depth to left-handers for left-handed relievers. So, yeah, I think overall losing Raley for a significant amount of time, as it seems like in this bullpen, is something that is a big negative to the Mets right now. I think they need as much help as they can get and really just don't want to see this. So hoping he can get better and hoping it's better for the Mets. So, yeah. The last one I wanted to talk about was Francisco Lindor and just the Mets series win. So with the Mets, they did have, not series win, I apologize. They did have a split with the Cubs, which ended yesterday on a Francisco Lindor walk-off double. So actually the funny thing about this was that double happened around 2 minutes after I ended my show. I was watching it on my phone when the show ended, and I watched the Lindor walk-off in this room. So that was really fun. But I think, and just what I want to talk about here is just Lindor and his impact on the Mets team and just how much him performing up to his standards helps this team and is just such a huge positive and helpful. Lindor is the captain. I think that's pretty clear. He's the leader on this team. He's, I would personally say, our best player. I think he is the Mets' best player. He's the $341 million man. There's a lot to, I mean, he's one of the best shortstops in baseball. Was top two with Seager before, but with Mookie Betts being the Dodgers shortstop for whoever knows how long, he probably moved to top three. So he's at least at top three shortstop. Trey Turner's been also doing well, but Lindor is such a figment of this Mets team, such a strong presence, and he's there for a long time. He has to perform, and when he does perform, it makes this lineup so much deeper, so much better. I talked about it in my slideshow I had of the teams and the graphics for the power rankings. He is he is obviously one of the best players in baseball, and when he is performing, he obviously makes the team a lot better. So he started off season really rough, like he does every year. It's just he doesn't start as fast as you'd like him to. It just is what it is, I'd say. So with Lindor, he finally has come around and been doing really well. He had a walk-off yesterday, which was off a righty, which is the big thing. He's really only hit lefty this year, and getting 2 hits off a righty yesterday, one in the clutch as well to walk off the game, is such a huge positive. And when Lindor is on his game, he helps the Mets lineup so much. He helps that shortstop position. He's always going to be a great defender. Mets fans know that. But having him now being this great hitter and continuing with this hitting depth, I think that he is going to help this team a lot and do really, really well. So, looking forward to watching him the rest of the season and doing really well. His WRC Plus, his Way to Run Created Plus, the stat I like to use for baseball and just overall analysis, is really, really well. I phrased this wrong. Has been doing really well now. It's up to 96. It was really bad before. It's going to be up to 100 soon and going to go up above that. So his WAR has also been doing better. So I think when Lindor is better, the Mets are better. He's their best player. And just him returning to form is such a big deal for this Mets team. And overall, Lindor coming back, Brooks Raley being hurt, that's big negatives. But Kristen Scott coming up, I think those two things help the Mets. Raley's obviously negative. But there were some stuff about the Mets yesterday. Good amount of news that I did want to talk about, as I did here. So, just want to talk about that and have a little segment about the Mets and their overall season so far. So, going into our fourth and final segment, which is going to be talking about the Players of the Month. Now, the Players of the Month were just announced, the first one of the baseball season. Obviously, we're a month in, so I did want to talk about those guys, if they deserve it, and where they do rank in National League MVP voting right now. So, we're going over that, and we'll talk about it then. So, thanks, and bye.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
And we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our fourth and final segment, which is going to be talking about the players of the month in baseball and just my overall thoughts on it. So, baseball, MLB did just announce the first players of the month for the year. Obviously, it is the month is over for baseball. Has gone by really, really fast, and as a baseball fan, it's getting really exciting, and times are just going, and just been a really great season so far. So. I want to talk about the American League and National League Players of the Month. Just a little ending segment here to talk about two guys that are really high in MVP voting right now, two really impactful guys and how they've impacted their teams. So the first one I did want to talk about was Gunnar Henderson of the Baltimore Orioles, who won American League Player of the Month. Now, Henderson so far has 10 home runs. He has an OPS of 980, 24 RBIs, 6 stolen bases as well, and has done really, really great, obviously. Now, Henderson was, of course, a top prospect for a little while with this Orioles team, was a guy that was heralded as one of the next saviors of the Orioles franchise, quote-unquote. So I think with Henderson, the Orioles have gotten that, and he's pretty much been as advertised. He's been a really, really great player with that left-handed bat. He's got, people love to watch him. He's got that hair. He's a ball player. He looks the part as well. So I think that overall, I think the Orioles would not be in as good of a place as they are right now with Gunnar Henderson being my top team in the American League, being a top 3 team in the entire league overall, being in first in the AL East. I think Gunnar Henderson really is a huge part of that, and is a guy that really is a guy that has broken out and did really well last year. But at the same time, you thought you could have gotten more. You knew how good he could have been. You knew that he's going to be a really great player in the future, and that he is going to be a future superstar for you. And that's what he's done this year. I mean, you look at these stats; they're incredible. He's been a really, really great player. Again, he has been. So I think with Henderson, it brings so much more depth to that Orioles lineup. I mean, other than him, you have Adley Rutschman, Ryan O'Hearn, Ryan Mountcastle, Jackson Holliday, who will come back soon, I hope. Of course, Gunnar at third. You have Colton Cowser, Cedric Mullins, all these other guys, and adding Henderson into that mix in that lineup is a real big positive, and someone that is going to add that lefty swing, is going to be a middle of the order bat for you, and I think this was the right decision for Player of the Month. I think I would probably have this as well. I do think right now he is the top of the AL MVP voting. I think he has been the best player in the American League, and it's kind of surprising because with Gunnar Henderson, he was not thought of as one of the main guys of the Orioles team. You were thinking of an Adley Rutschman, really. A Colton Cowser, even, I'd say. Jackson Holliday, of course. But Henderson has proven, I'm talked about too. Look, we got Adley. He's great. But look at how good I am. Look at how great I've been. And props to him. He's been doing really, really well. The Orioles have been doing great, of course. So I think that overall, Henderson is an amazing player in this league, has shown it from time to time, and is finally putting it together, is having an amazing season, and could win MVP as a second year. I think that's really possible, and he's been doing so well this year. Orioles have been doing great, and the Orioles, I talked about it a little bit on the show, but the Orioles were so bad for so many years that, it's kind of weird for me to just put them as saying all these high praise about them and put them in these conversations, but when you're bad for those many years, you do tank, you get good young players, and when you hit on those draft picks, your team becomes so much better, and your organization becomes so much better. And you've hit with those. You've hit with Gunnar Henderson. You've hit with Adley Rutschman. You've hit with Jackson Holliday. You've hit with Colton Cowser. You were hit with some other prospects, and you were able to trade them into an ace, one of the best pitchers in baseball, in Corbin Burns. So the Orioles have really transformed this organization from where it once was, and having a guy like Gunnar Henderson being at the forefront of it is a really great thing. One other player I want to talk about, of course, in the National League is going to be the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Mookie Betts. Now, Mookie has also, of course, been doing great. 6 home runs, a 1.101 OPS, 8 stolen bases, 23 RBIs. I mean, Mookie has been doing so good. The Dodgers at the start had some underperformance in their hitting department, mainly Freddie Freeman. He wasn't doing as good as you thought, but Mookie has always been incredible. He switched around from positions from a lot this year, so with that, he has remained calm. He hasn't let it get to his head. He hasn't let the distractions get to him. So with that, you can see why he's so highly thought of in this league. You can see why he's such a good player, why people love him, why the Dodgers paid him all that money, and he's been doing so well. So I think Mookie overall is the NL MVP front runner right now. I think he's obviously a really great player, and I think when you look at this Dodgers team, they have so many stars: Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, going to the pitching department now, Tyler Glasnow. But I think Mookie is the glue. Because you look at Ohtani, yes, he hits, but he's not pitching right now. So he's not doing much else. Freddie hits. He plays first base. The defense is good, but it's not really a significant portion of him. Mookie, it is. Mookie can go from right field to left field to center to shortstop to second base. He can play defense. He can hit the ball, of course, extremely well. And I think when you have a superstar who's willing to do all those things, not be boxed into one specific role, and just do everything for the team, it helps you so much. And with Mookie, I would agree that he's the player of the month for the National League. Right now, he's probably in the NL MVP. He's probably the NL MVP frontrunner, to be perfectly honest. And yeah, I'm really excited to watch him go on this year. He's been doing so well, and I don't want to make fun of Red Sox fans, but I gave them praises. I gave the Red Sox some praises earlier in the show, but man, was that trade one of the worst in baseball history. I mean, oh my goodness. Getting Jeter Downs, Connor Wong, and some other prospects for Alex Verdugo, who I completely forgot somehow, for Mookie Betts is crazy. I mean, Jeter Downs is a depth piece in some organization. It might even be the Yankees, which would be funny. I know he got claimed there before, but I think he got DFA'd. So Verdugo's hitting the ball great for the Yankees. Connor Wong's a good catcher, but man, Jeter just got so fleeced. And imagine this Red Sox team with the pitching they're having right now, with the lineup they have with Devers and some of the other guys who are performing really well right now. Imagine that with Mookie in it. Oh boy, would that be great. So the Red Sox really screwed up there, and we could talk about it for ages and ages, but I don't want to give the Red Sox fans any more PTSD or any nightmares, but man, that was not good for them. And Mookie, great player, one of the best players in baseball, we all know this, deserves to be the National League Player of the Month. By far, really great job. So, yeah. That is it for the show guys today. Thank you so much for watching. This segment was a little bit shorter, but the overall show was a little longer, so I don't know why, but it happened that way, so not complaining. But yeah, I want to thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Not only get notified when I upload, but when all the other great content creators on this channel upload. So yeah, make sure we invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram for more content and updates. It's a beautiful day outside. Enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you on Monday. Thank you guys, and bye.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn ain't that